Donovan Mitchell took to Twitter and had this to say, quote, "Circle got smaller, everybody can't go." Now, Harry, should Donovan Mitchell want out of Utah?
I think it's up in the air. I think you look at what Danny Ainge, Donovan Mitchell that is, has to look at what Danny Ainge is selling, and if he's buying that, then you stay in Utah and figure it out. If you aren't buying anything that Danny Ainge is selling you, then you need to request a trade and try to get out as soon as possible. But here's the thing. When you look at Danny Ainge and what he was able to do with the Boston Celtics, he has the credentials in the rap sheet to show you that it is possible to get to a certain point. You just got to be patient and let it and see it through. I just don't know if Donovan Mitchell, at the time he is in his career, if he wants to be patient and see it through, because it may take a while. Because they just got back, basically 9 players in one trade, right? You got 5 players and you got 4 draft picks, and then you got Walker Kessler, who was another first-round draft pick and whatnot. Does Donovan Mitchell want to wait that long for this organization to get back to where he wants it to be?
Yeah, I remember a time not that long ago that Woj reported that after Quinn Snyder had stepped down, Donovan Mitchell was unnerved and unsettled about the direction the Utah Jazz were going, and rightfully so. The writing was on the wall, as clearly we heard from Wendy last week about what that was leading to, with Rudy Gobert being traded out of there. So now it could either be Donovan Mitchell's team if he's willing to be a part of a rebuild in Utah, or Danny Ainge may be thinking behind the scenes, okay, this is going to be a true rebuild. I'm going to offload this incredible asset to get more draft picks. So if I'm Donovan Mitchell and if I'm still feeling those sentiments, I mean, I know what he tweeted there, and I remember seeing photos of him last month. I believe it was in South Beach with Jimmy Butler. If you want to put some of those dots together, maybe the Miami Heat would be the best destination for him to get traded to. I don't know. Like, I mean, because if Kevin Durant to Miami is not going to happen, like, Jimmy Butler still needs another running mate there. So if Donovan Mitchell sees his path to a championship as going to be with another team instead of being the guy that they build around in Utah, and maybe that takes longer than he's willing to dedicate when he's still when he's right in his prime right now and wants to win now rather than 4 years down the line, like, I think him being better off somewhere else is not a far-fetched idea.
So in the NBA, and this is obviously an old adage, but in the NBA especially, I'm a big believer in actions over words. And most of the NBA year, the calendar, is words season. But right now, we're in actions season. So let's look at actions and see what the actions are telling us, not the words. The Jazz's actions are that of a rebuilding team. Their veteran, well-respected, highly valued coach left them. They hired a first-time head coach and gave him a long contract, giving him runway because they know that he might struggle early on. There are 29 teams that have signed players in free agency. Guess who the one team who has not added one person in free agency? The Jazz. Even the teams that have made big trades have signed players. The Jazz have signed no one. They just did a trade for Rudy Gobert that, yes, they did get players back. All of them were on expiring contracts. And it was primarily a trade to get draft picks, just like the Royce O'Neal trade was to get draft picks. The Jazz have shaved off $150 million guaranteed on their payroll and added 5 future first-round picks with the moves that they have made while signing nobody. Eric Paschall, who is definitely an ancillary player in the NBA, but is Donovan Mitchell's best friend since childhood, who they signed a year ago basically to make Donovan more comfortable, which, by the way, this happens with teams all the time. The Bucks employ Giannis Antetokounmpo's brother. The Cleveland Cavaliers just drafted Evan Mobley's brother. This is not unheard of. And they cut him. They said, hit the bricks. So if you're Donovan Mitchell and you're looking at these actions, they are telling you a certain thing, that this team is going not only away from what makes you comfortable, but away from having a team that is a contender with you on it, with your contract having, I believe, 2 more guaranteed years. He might have 3 more guaranteed years, but he has an opt-out. He can force action sooner. So now it is on Donovan Mitchell to action. And right now he is not doing any actions. He is not making any demands or anything. I think he wants to wait and watch what the Jazz's actions are. But you can certainly understand no matter what you think about Donovan Mitchell and his game, no matter what you think about his desire potentially to go back home and play in New York or not play in a market like Utah or to play in a market like Utah, those actions have reactions. And even if I'm a guy like Mike Conley, who was in the back nine of his career, who re-signed in Utah a year ago for good money, but he re-signed there because he thought they were going to compete for a championship. If I'm Mike Conley, I'm wondering what's going on. I've only got a few years left in my career. Am I now on a team that is totally, completely deconstructing itself? So if you ask right there at the bottom of the screen, should Donovan Mitchell ask for a trade? I think a lot of reasonable people would expect someone like in Donovan's shoes to do that. And so we're going to watch the actions here of what the Jazz do with these picks, what they talk about, and they construct their team. Because right now, they are no longer really looking like a playoff team for next year. And that is not where you want to be if you're in your mid-20s superstar player or high-level player like Donovan Mitchell.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.